Welcome to the Way We See It podcast.
where we talk about politics, social justice, and culture.
I'm Tati,
And I'm Ariana.
and we are your host of this podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Way We See It podcast. This is episode 34, week 14, and I'm here with my co-host Ariana.
What's goody, y'all?
She fine, she fire, she's single. If you want her, go on the podcast page so I can see it.
Okay. I was not expecting that introduction.
I was meaning to say it before, like my beautiful, amazing co-host, but then I just had to add that last part with the single and shit because
I appreciate you.
we deserve good shit, you know?
Yeah.
Literally in every single way. So anyways, if you're new to our podcast, hi, welcome. Make sure you check our socials, our Instagram and our Twitter at the way we see it with the C. Check out our website. The link can be found in our Instagram and Twitter bio, where you can read each of our blogs, which we have yet to update still, our current events, our resources, our citations, and more. And make sure you check out our YouTube channel as well at the way we see it also with the C if you're not watching there right now. And if you are and you're new to our channel, hello. We'll be posting our visuals like this every week now for our episodes. So make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, you can also find our YouTube link in our Instagram and Twitter bio. So,
Wait, before you get wait for the Instagram, we're like 10 followers away from 200 followers. So if you
no, we're
listen,
not, girl.
check. Pause it.
I promise you, no, we're at 150 right now.
So we're 10 followers away from 200.
150?
Oh my God. Delete this. Delete. It's been a long day. Cut this out, y'all.
Can I keep it, please? Please. Now we're at 149. So we've come a long way though this season, because in the beginning of the season we had just gotten 100 followers. Now we've built our audience by 50. So that's amazing. So hopefully let's see like where we get by season 3, 200
Mhm.
listeners. Sheesh.
Man, I'm sorry, guys. It's been
No, it's okay. Girl, me too. But now, because I'd be telling everybody, I'm like, follow, follow. Actually, when I did my shopping spree today, it was from a girl that followed me, a lady, and I wasn't gonna like follow her, whatever, because I thought she was one of those scamming people. But then I saw that she owned a boutique, and I checked it out, and I checked out the website, cute stuff. So I followed her boutique page, and I shopped from the boutique. And then she has seen that I did that. She actually ended up following our podcast page. She was like, I'm checking out your YouTube now. I just love supporting other women. I was like, thank you so much. She's like, no, thank
Oh,
you for supporting me as well. And boom, boom. You see? That's how
that's
you
crazy.
build an audience
Jeez.
right there. And then, not to mention my anime group chats. My girls, I got my kids that are literally in Europe following us also, which is amazing. So just thank you to everybody who listens to us every week. We appreciate you. Mwah.
We did the same thing.
Yeah.
We did
We're
not
like,
plan this.
what's up?
If you're watching on YouTube, we literally blew a kiss at the same time. It
Yeah,
was not
literally. I felt mad Dominican doing that for some reason. Like with you, it was just like that's what the Dominican men do, right? They be like, salud. Anyways, so this week's topic, we're continuing our talk with climate change, but this time we're talking about the effects it has on ocean life. So, in honor of Earth Month, like we said, we're continuing our conversation in the effects of climate change. If you haven't already, check out our first part of our climate change series, episode 31, where we discuss what climate change is, the history behind climate change, and how you can help, along with episode 33, where we specifically spoke about climate change and its effects on living things and how our actions affect animal life as well, regarding things such as animal cruelty. So, ja. You want to get into the first one, Adi?
Yeah, first, like, why we want to talk about this topic.
Yeah.
Um well, ocean, like, water makes up a huge part of the earth. If you ever
Mm-hmm.
looked at a picture of the
The ocean.
planet,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
the planet Earth, like you can see it's mostly blue, you know. So water makes up a lot of the planet.
Yeah.
So, you know, we should be concerned of something about a huge body of water that's pretty much takes up the entire planet. So
No, yeah, for real. Cause I'm scared of the ocean. I think it's very beautiful, but it's also very scary if I was to be placed in it. But then like especially when I went to St. Thomas, like what we talked about in episode 31, like the fear of tsunamis and earthquakes and these effects that are happening because of climate change and everything, I know I would die. And I've just always been one for like ocean life and everything. That's how I first started my activist stuff, paying attention to what was happening to animals out there and dolphins and sea lions and stuff. And not to mention I used to watch Shark Week every year. Watch the Megalodon series on Discover Channel. It was crazy. I read books like that in elementary school. And but it was pretty interesting to see. And then, growing up and then taking science all of high school, I saw like the effects that we as humans really do have on like the earth and the animals, and then not to mention the animals also in the ocean. Um and like it just goes over our heads, as everything else sometimes. So I think it's important to discuss, especially after we discuss one of the incidents that happened back in 2010, which we'll get into a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is, how does climate change affect the ocean?
yeah, so to review the basics, we already know that climate change affects everything on Earth. But what about the ocean? The ocean covers 70% of the Earth, and the ocean has an effect on the weather along with the climate affecting the ocean.
Mhm.
So according to EPA, which is the US Environmental Protection Agency, as greenhouse gases trap more energy from the sun, the oceans are absorbing more heat, resulting in an increase in sea surface temperatures and rising sea level. So just like we talked about climate change, how the weather is getting warmer in places it's supposed to be cold, same thing similar to the ocean, where the
Yeah.
ocean's supposed to be a certain temperature. I don't know the number of the temperature by heart,
Yeah.
or I don't know, but you know, the ocean's supposed to be a certain temperature for the animals that live in the water.
Yeah, but it's still
Um,
cold enough that if we were in it, we'd turn blue.
yeah.
you know
um, yeah, I get very surprised. I'm going on top of it. I get very
yeah.
surprised when I go to the beach and the water's actually warm because
Right?
that
But
shit's always cold.
actually, fun fact, I learned about this in earth science. So throughout the day and everything, no, no, no. So at nighttime, wait, which is it? So throughout the day, the sun is the water's trying to match the temperature of the sun. But then by nighttime, it's actually um already like the temperature of what it was outside. So then because the sun is now gone, it's cooling down, and that's why it's like that in the morning. Or it's the opposite. It's cooling down throughout the day and then it's warmer at nighttime. One of those two. I learned it in earth science, which was like 6
Yeah.
years ago.
Mhm.
But yeah, continuing.
Yeah, so side note on top of that, that Earth's greenhouse gases trap heat in the atmosphere and warm the planet. The main gases responsible for the greenhouse effect include carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and water vapor, which all occur naturally, and fluorinated gases, which are synthetic.
Mhm.
So, continuing what was said before, changes in ocean temperatures and currents. So, is current like how the water, which way the water moves?
Yeah, like the currents, like the waves and everything.
Okay. And brought by about by climate change will lead to alterations in climate patterns around the world. For example, warmer waters may promote development of stronger storms in the tropics, which can cause property damage and lost life. The impacts associated with sea level rise and stronger storms are especially relevant to coastal communities. And lastly, climate change has on the ocean is the increase of ocean acidity,
Mhm.
coastal flooding, increase in sea level, and so much more. We're just hitting the surface here.
Yeah. And so where I'm just going to do a summary of these key points, which we basically just went over off the EPA.gov website. So first off, starting with ocean heat, three independent analyses show that the amount of heat stored in the ocean has increased substantially since the 1950s, which is basically when, you know, things with the industrial system started going up. You know, things like hairspray was also popping, so that all affects our atmosphere. That doesn't say that there, but that's just, you know, a history fact if you guys didn't know. Continuing, ocean heat content not only determines sea surface temperature, but also affects sea level and currents, which is what we were just talking about. Then there's sea surface temperature. Ocean surface temperatures increased around the world during the 20th century, which is the 1900s. Even with some year to year variation, the overall increase is clear, and sea surface temperatures have been consistently higher during the past 3 decades than any other time since reliable observations began in the late 1800s. And then there's sea level. When averaged over all the world's oceans, sea level has risen at a rate of roughly 6 tenths of an inch per decade since 1880, which is insane if you really think about that. The rate of increase has accelerated in recent years to more than an inch per decade. Changes in sea level relative to the land vary by region. According to the U.S. coastline, sea level has risen the most along the mid Atlantic coast and parts of the Gulf Coast, where some stations registered increases more than 8 inches between 1960 and 2015. Sea level has decreased relative to the land in parts of Alaska and Pacific Northwest. And then there's this specific thing that they also look into when it comes to sea level. It's been noticed from NASA and you know, people that actually study this and everything, that there has been a loss of land along the Atlantic coast. So as sea levels rise, dry land and wetlands can turn into open water. Along many parts of the Atlantic coast, this problem is made worse by low elevations and land that is already sinking. Between 1996 and 2011, the coastline from Florida to New York lost more land than it gained. Manhattan and Miami are going down.
Harlem is going down.
Harlem, bro, nobody's gonna be outside. They're gonna be drowning
They're
outside.
gonna be underwater.
A boogie drinks it. He said, "I'm drowning." Let me get out of here. Anyways, coastal flooding is also another one. Flooding is becoming more frequent along the U.S. coastline as sea levels rise. Nearly every site measured has experienced an increase in coastal flooding since the 1950s. The rate is accelerating in many locations along the east and Gulf Coast. The Mid-Atlantic region suffers the highest number of coastal floods days and has also experienced the largest increases in flooding. And then the last one, ocean acidity. Acidity, yeah. The ocean has become more acidic over the past few decades because of increased levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide, which dissolves in the water. Higher acidity affects the balance of minerals in the water, which can make it more difficult for certain marine animals to build or protective skeletons or shells. Yeah, I actually remember that, learning that in science. Like, because of the acidity in the ocean, um certain animals bodies like aren't like, sometimes they could be deformed because of that acidity, or when they die, like their skeletons and their bones aren't preserved anymore, like they're not longer lasting, like to be able to be found as like a fossil or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like it's literally burning in the ocean. So then, yeah, and then the next one.
So just some other ways of how us humans were harming the ocean. First, destructing the homes of ocean habitats. This is when corals are removed, as well as when like there's construction done in the ocean, like from drilling and mining. Chemical pollution and oil spills. Both of these things harm ocean life. Overfishing, which leaves like the adult fishes um, to not like breed enough fishes for the future.
Mm-hmm.
I found this very interesting because I never even heard of this, but there's a thing called noise pollution. So underwater noise from construction or mass beach events,
Oh
like
yeah.
them spring break beach events and concerts that they be having in Cancun and shit, can negatively impact the natural behavior of ocean life. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's like similar to how, you know, when dogs hear like a certain whistle, and it makes them like either listen or they can't move and stuff. The same thing is for like for wildlife, especially because they're able to, sense when something bad is about to happen, things
Hmm.
like that, mess with like their frequencies, because some animals in the ocean are like, some of them can't see, some of them are based off frequencies like certain sense, and it messes with that, like the sound waves basically.
Hmm.
And I actually read about this too when I was doing my research, because I was started thinking, I was like, if a hurricane did come and a tsunami, would I is there a possibility of me getting eaten by a shark like in the street, and it says that usually the sharks, the whales, the dolphins, they go out to safer waters when a hurricane or tsunami is
Hmm.
about to happen. But any of the creatures, any of the sea life that's there in the area when the water is being pulled in to being hitting the seashore line and everything, um, the seashore line, but basically like where the sand
Oh,
is and everything, and the street levels, the land level, they're dead.
damn.
Yeah, that's why you'll see a lot of dead animals also there, whether they're from the land or from the ocean, dead fish everywhere. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But following this, there's the Deepwater Horizon incident. And I forget who I saw this movie with. I really don't remember. Maybe my uncle, maybe my dad, maybe my mom, somebody. But I watched this movie and it was so good. Like Mark Wahlberg was in it and Dylan O'Brien was in it. A lot of like good leads that you see in a lot of things. Like the main character from Jane the Virgin. I don't know if you've seen that show. She's in it also. It was pretty crazy, the movie. And basically I'm gonna get into the breakdown now, but this incident not only affected the lives of people that were involved, but it also affected marine life. And it was so big that this case like lasted over 5 years even after the incident. So on April 10th, 2010, an oil drilling incident occurred in the Macondo prospect in the Gulf of Mexico. Deepwater Horizon was the name of the oil drilling location. This incident happened when one of the pipes exploded and sank Deepwater Horizon, resulting in 11 workers' deaths. This is known as the biggest oil spill in history involving marine oil drilling operations. 4 million barrels of oil spilled into the ocean and spread from the Macondo for 87 days. Guys,
Mm.
that's literally almost 3 months right there, literally almost 3 months of oil spreading from its original location in the ocean to further areas in the ocean.
So they
So,
couldn't control it.
huh?
They couldn't control like the
they
spell.
they were trying their best and everything.
Um,
It took them from April when the incident happened to July 15th of 2010 to officially stop the oil spilling and from spreading. So this became a huge case that took 5 years till it came to an end in 2015. But I'm not even gonna go into that. If you guys want to check that out in detail, they have a whole thing on what's it
TV.
called, EPA.gov as well.
Oh,
Um, so yeah, continuing, but besides this, the effects this had on marine life was that it killed thousands of marine mammals and sea turtles, and not to mention destroyed their homes. There were also 5 endangered species that lived in that ocean area that were protected by the Endangered Species Act, which was also one of the cases from the incident that took years to come to a verdict. Yeah, and they got a lot of money from
oof.
the incident. Yeah. So, according to the National Ocean Service, they investigated the effect on the ocean life, like whales and dolphins as well, and stated that marine mammals, which is what they consider like the whales and dolphins, and sea turtles may have been exposed to the oil by inhalation, aspiration, ingesting contaminated sediment, water, or prey, or by absorbing condiments through their skin. So, if you even search up Deepwater Horizon incident on sea life, you'll literally see dolphins covered in oil, sea turtles covered in oil, people literally like trying to clean them out, people literally taking dolphins out of the ocean to just check their vitals, see what they're ingesting, because even sea turtles, they eat, I don't know what they eat, but whatever they eat basically could have also been contaminated just from inhaling any of the oil that was in the ocean. So that
Mhm.
also gets processed into them. And it was basically a whole circle, like it was a whole domino effect, and how this affected the ocean life. So in addition, marine mammal researchers concluded that exposure to the oil caused a wide range of adverse health effects, such as reproductive failure and organ damage, and that animals killed by these adverse effects contributed to the largest and longest marine mammal unusual mortality event ever recorded in the Gulf of Mexico. Because of the serious damage to the ocean life, the settlement of the case regarding how these creatures were harmed resulted in the Natural Resources Damage Assessment settlement with BP for up to 8.8 billion for restoration projects. So they got 8.8 billion dollars because of all the harm that came to all those animals, and then not to mention the endangered animals.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that basically concludes that Deepwater Horizon incident, because this was in a whole span from 10 for 5 years after that incident happened in 2010. And the movie made about the incident has actors like what I said, Dylan O'Brien, Mark Wahlberg, that girl from Jane the Virgin. And it's really a good movie. If anybody wants to watch, it's available on Hulu, Apple TV, Prime Video, and more. I highly suggest watching it because at first I was like, this looks boring. Like, this looks like it's gonna be just like a
Mhm.
whack action movie. No, it had me on the edge of my seat. Like, literally, Adi, you will really like it too. It
Yeah. I'm.
really has you like, what the heck is gonna happen?
Mhm.
Because the people too that were on the Deepwater Horizon, they're just doing their job every day, and you literally see they show you how the pipe had burst.
She.
And when I was reading the thing about the case that
Mhm.
came afterwards, the people were basically saying like how after a while some of the workers had to like step forward and testify in court, like what exactly happened, um like if they took part in it, where were they, like everybody had to go to court about it.
Mhm.
And it's
Wow.
insane because at first I thought, a pipe burst, whatever. No, like that pipe exploded and it caused other pipes to explode, and the whole ship, the whole thing just went down like the Titanic, bro. But with all those barrels of oil, because those barrels go out to land.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I would definitely. We'll check out this movie
Mhm.
a couple weeks when I'm finished school.
In a couple of weeks. No, yeah, for real. I have to try and focus on my schooling as well now.
Struggle.
Anyways, no, literally. Moving on.
Yeah, so now that Tati explained this event that happened back in 2010,
Hmm.
now I'm going to go over how can we help to protect ocean life now that you are aware of this information. So one way is to reduce your carbon footprint. This is something that we spoke about in episode 31, and we actually have a link. You can find it on our website of how to calculate your carbon footprint. And some of the few ways is by turning off the lights when you leave the room, using public transportation, and buying sustainably caught wild seafood. So basically, I guess that means just like there's ethical ways to like catch seafood, and there's inhumane. I don't know if I say
Yeah, no, yeah,
improper, unethical ways that people like catch
yeah,
seafood.
because they have sea farms and everything, which is where they basically like, even my dad, because he was born and raised in St. Thomas, there's actual fish from the ocean, and then there's farm raised fish where they're like, um they mate the fish together, they
Okay,
reproduce them at the farm, so they have a whole, it's not as real as the real fish from the ocean. So
I see.
yeah.
Yeah. Another way is to avoid ocean harming products. Basically, products that they use like parts of the animal to make their products. Basically,
Yeah, like
um,
shark fin soup, things like that.
sharks and what?
Shark fin soup, it's a thing in like Asia.
Uh,
And there's
Eating.
also, oh, sorry.
Go go.
No, yeah, because there's things like that where they have shark fin soup, maybe having too many like crabs dying, whatever.
Mhm.
Like, these are things that endanger these species, if you take too much of it and not give them a chance to even reproduce, because these things all take time. And there's actually like some countries that I remember last year seeing a country, I don't remember where it is, somewhere in Europe, or past maybe in India, where they have a specific day where they go out, like they take their boats out and everything. They draw in the whales. I think I mentioned this previously in season one or something. They bring in the whales closer to the shore, and then they literally kill the whales. Like they literally stab them and they rip them open, have their guts pouring, the water turns red and everything.
They get joy off of that.
Yeah, and they have kids there and everything. It's like a day celebration thing that they do. They kill the whales and then they feast on them later on that night. And it's not like they're big whales or whatever. They're like, medium sized whales, maybe from my wall to this wall, but they're still pretty big. And they draw them in, and you see them flapping their things because they have nets that they literally pull them in closer to shore, and then they kill them.
That's beyond insane. I have
That's unethical right there. That's what I'm saying.
the and like no, they're not like charged with anything for cruelty, animal cruelty.
No, because some countries they don't have those kinds of laws.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then speaking of that, another way is vote on ocean issues.
Yeah.
Pay attention. Who are your representatives? See if they're advocating for ocean issues. Demand plastic-free alternatives. An estimated 17.6 billion pounds of plastic leaks into the marine environment from land-based sources every year. Um, yeah, and pick up bar garbage near beaches. Like, go with your group of your friends, go to the beach.
Go to Rockaway Beach if you're in New York. Rockaway Beach, Jones Beach, dirty. I always find a needle in Rockaway, by the way. Oh,
Orchard Beach.
Orchard, yeah, that too. Even
Hmm.
Jones Beach is dirty in some parts. I'm like, ew.
Hmm.
Um, but no, yeah, like you really have to. I'm really want to try and clean it up as much as possible. I remember one day, I think it was on Earth Day, like 2 years ago. I went around my whole complex with a bag, and I just picked up the trash around and I just threw it away.
Hmm.
That's it. Like it's not that hard. My complex literally had a trash bin right there next to the park, and there's bottles left in the basketball court in the park and everything.
Hmm.
And there's like this little hill that leads to a little river at the edge of the park, and people would throw things into the thing, into like the little grass field, whatever, before it reached the water, and I just picked it up without trying to get a tick on me, and that's it.
Yeah, I recently went to what's it called? A cleanup up here in upstate last Saturday for Earth Day, and it was pretty fun. Like, it was just you just as you're socializing with people, you kind of like it doesn't like seem like work. It was nice. It was a nice experience, and I met some dope people.
Too, like it's not that hard to just pick something up for yourself and even other people.
Hmm.
Think of it as your good deed for the day. So the good that you do is gonna come to you tenfold. That's
Yes.
so.
And
But
lastly,
because summer's coming.
wait, say it again.
I said, yeah, because summer's coming, so everybody's gonna be outside. So either pick up your trash or pick up for other people as well. Don't be shy. Pick up a trash. Pick up a can.
And now that you guys all know this information, you can speak out and educate others. You can share this episode with other people and our previous climate change episodes. Um, and yeah, we encourage all to take, like I said before in a previous episode, all these small steps that you do, they add up. And if you share with your friends and family, it all adds up, and we can make this world a better place.
Yeah, literally. And don't forget, guys, you can use my code TatianaPolino20 at pervita.com if you want to even donate a little bit to support ocean life and whatever cause. They have charity bracelets, and 5% of that, or 5 to 10%, goes to what organization. They give you the information about it, and the bio underneath it, and you can check it out. Like right now I have protect the rainforest right here, and this one's just a regular bracelet, but
Mhm.
I have other ones like protect the sea turtles, protect the dolphins. And even if you don't want to do something for animals, they have things for human diseases and mental health, like even suicide awareness kinds of bracelets. So do that. It's only like $5-6, and half of that goes to a good cause.
Mhm.
So
So
try
to
that
donate in style.
out. Yeah. You could post it and tag me.
Like, look at my wrist.
The rest, and they're cute for the summertime. I always wear these more when the summer's out than
Mhm.
anything. So yeah, you'll be an ally to the earth, but also an ally to yourself and a fashionista in the process. You're welcome. So now that concludes this week's topic, and actually our whole topic about climate change affecting the earth for this month. I actually really liked it. It really warmed my heart. I really love this episode a
I
lot
learned so
too.
much too.
Yeah, I learned a lot with that carbon footprint. That one took me back a bit. I was like, hold up. I was kind of it was kind of funny though because mine was less than yours, but I also didn't have my mom to tell me actual information.
Oh yeah.
So who knows? Mine could have been bigger, but we'll never know. But yeah, it was actually kind of nice. I really liked it. And yeah, guys, so we hope you liked it too. If you haven't caught up on um any of those episodes, go ahead and check it out. No rush. We got new episodes every Friday for you. And literally at the end of May, we're gonna be done. We're donezo. We got 6 more episodes starting today. So 6 more weeks after this episode. So stay tuned, and now we're gonna get into this week's current events, which are crazy, if you ask me.
Yeah. These past few weeks have been crazy. Every week has been
Bro, this
crazy.
whole month, it was like
Um,
April Fool's is the first day. This whole month feels like a joke.
yeah.
I'm
I'm back.
affected, especially by this first current event. I literally saw you post it, and I was like, "Hold the hell up!" I even I texted because you posted it on our podcast page. I even swiped up on our podcast post and said, "What the f?"
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, why Tati deeming her own page?
Literally, like I got the notification right after, but I was like, "Okay, go ahead."
By the way, I added a current event above the
Oh,
one.
I just peeped.
But yeah, so the first current event is basically highlighting President Biden's first address to Congress. Um, on April 28th, President Biden delivered his first joint address to Congress where he talked about his accomplishments in his first 100 days. I believe today he made 100,
Yeah.
April 29th, and his future plans. I was watching some of it today during work. I didn't get to finish. But here's a few things that he mentioned. He mentioned a lot of things, but just highlights that I think that usually since like college students age students or like 18 to 20 something will be interested in this. So first, he called Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act by the anniversary of Floyd's death.
Hmm.
So he's trying to have the Congress pass that by, I forgot what the date is, but it's basically the end of May.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Called Congress to pass $15 federal minimum wage. Okay.
Hmm.
And called white supremacy as terrorism, and announced his family American Families Plan, which will
Hmm.
include like 2 years free of community college and 2 years free of universal preschool.
Yeah, he has a lot of big ideas on like providing a lot for
Mm-hmm.
underprivileged people, you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that too because who knows if I ever need to fit in some categories, and not to mention New York already has a lot of those things in general from Cuomo and De Blasio.
Mm-hmm.
So with that on top of it, it would just help so much more. But anyways, let's get into the next current event. I don't even know how I feel about this. So, according on April 27th, the CDC, which is the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, announced that the fellow Americans and other citizens of America can go outdoors without a mask if they are fully vaccinated and if there is not a large crowd. President Biden reposted this announcement on his Instagram and Twitter page to let everybody know. Girl, as some of you guys may or may not know, Ariana has said this on a previous episode that she got vaccinated. She says she hasn't glitched or whatever. I still need her to watch The Matrix so she can really give me a full response. Maybe she doesn't even know that she glitched yet. Maybe she glitched it in her sleep. We never know. She's like, maybe. And me, I have not been vaccinated. And I'm already hearing from my college that if you're not vaccinated, you may not even be able to go back to college in the fall semester. So I'm like, pause. Why is there so much pressure for the vaccine. And it is messing with me, guys, because I'm like, okay, I can understand why people would want the vaccine for others, to protect others, like the elderly and whatever, people that actually are endangered by the virus. And, me personally, I'm not like a freaking one of those Republicans that goes around with no mask, coughs in people's faces, is disrespectful. No, I wear a mask. I follow safety guidelines. I always wash my hands. Wash my hands with soap, sanitize, disinfect everything, especially on my job. We got some new Clorox wipes. Best believe I'm cleaning those counters real quick because I love the smell of Clorox and like cleaning products. Like, that's just me.
Mhm.
So I'm going on a rant, guys. Seriously.
No, go.
but
I'm here for
like, damn, like it's about to be like, okay, you cannot leave your house whatsoever if you're not vaccinated. I'm okay, it seems like everybody else is going back to normal, but those that are not vaccinated, I mean, for people that don't want to be vaccinated because of whatever else, but people like me, where like we actually are taking safety measures and we are being safe and like I'm trying to go back to normal life as well also, and even if that means me going out with a mask all the time, I don't mind. I'm already used to my mask at this point. Like
Mhm.
really, I'm the only struggle for me is to find a mask that doesn't fog up my glasses when I'm breathing. But besides me too. And but like I don't mind. I don't mind keeping my mask on until what's it called? Everything is just done with. But I feel too much pressure for this vaccine right now. I don't know how I feel about it because first I can't even go to school now in the fall maybe without the vaccine. And now all of a sudden I'm gonna be seeing people out in the street maybe that may or may not even be fully vaccinated. Like people be
Mhm.
lying. Like I had
Yeah.
someone swipe up on my post about that because I posted on my close friends on Instagram, and I went on a little rant like what I'm doing right now, and they're like, just go outside without it. I've been doing that since like the summertime. Nobody ever said anything. He's like, and I'm not like a Republican or nothing, but like I just don't like the mask, and I'll put it on when I need to go into a place, but besides that I'm always outside without one. Like I'm like, no, because what's it called, people walk around without COVID all the time. Never forget when I went ice skating for Valentine's Day, and literally a girl a good feet away from me is like, oh my god, she has COVID, and she was dumb type because she was just with her.
Oh
Like,
my goodness.
yeah, so that's why they were telling me like we need to get tested, and I'm just like, so imagine if you got the vaccine and whatever. Just because you have the vaccine doesn't mean you're never gonna get it again.
Mhm.
Why do you think we all have to take the flu shot every year? And guess what? I still don't take the flu shot because I hate the doctor and I hate needles. Every time I have to go to the doctor, it's always something. They need to draw my blood. They need to give me a shot. That's why I don't go. And I'm not going for this vaccine. That's my rant. Good day.
No, my okay, this is I've been vaccinated and I got vaccinated because I fell into the trap. I was pressured. I was more so pressured like from society than my family. Like my
hmm
family's well, they're all fully vaccinated, but I fell into the trap. I'm not gonna lie. Like at first I was like, I'm not doing that shit. I don't even take the flu shot. But I fell to the trap, fell into the trap. But when I read this, I was shook because, like Tati said, even if you have the vaccine, you still can get the virus. There's been cases. I know people who were vaccinated and they got the virus. They had the
Yeah.
virus before the vaccine and after. Um, so yeah, it's everything's like this is also new and everything is a lot of the stuff is all up in the air. And the fact that CDC announced that is like like, and I can already see people taking advantage of people that weren't vaccinated, just walking around with no mask. Like yesterday, I went to the city for the very first time in a while, and I took the train and bus for the
Oh
first time.
wow.
This is the first time since March of 2020. And
Wow.
there was like people like they had their mask wrong, or they just had their mask all the way down on the train and stuff, and like I'm not gonna confront nobody because I don't know
Yeah.
what type of weapons they got on them.
Bang
But,
bang.
the best you can do is just like walk away, try to be
Yeah.
far from them. But it just sucks that, um, that I can already see people already take advantage of it, and people already don't even care about wearing the mask even before this
Yeah,
announcement. So,
girl. No, 100%. I don't mean to cut you off. I don't know.
Mhm.
You are done?
No, and I disagree with the schools making like the students, um take their vaccine. Like, what if you don't want to take it? And like, I'm not gonna judge somebody that doesn't take it. Like, I'm cool with Tati. I'm not judging her for not taking the vaccine. I'm still gonna be cool with her, whatever.
Yeah, like even if she
Um,
took the vaccine, yeah, I make my jokes, guys, but like that's what she wanted to do. She did it, and you know what? She's my test subject because now I'm gonna see what happens to her.
well, I will not take the vaccine again.
Mm,
I'm not putting that in my body again because I don't even know what the hell I put in my body.
yeah,
And yeah, I think it's unfair that the schools are making the students make this, and I'm thinking like they must have got money from the government trying to like push this out. Like I understand it's science, but come on, I
yeah.
don't know. And I feel bad for like the students that they want to go to these schools. I know NYU is requiring it, and I believe Fordham. Those are the two schools that I've heard that
Oh my
are
god,
requiring it so far here in New York, and the other schools I haven't heard anything else. But like that's crazy, and I wonder if the students are gonna be protesting and shit.
bro, I will protest because that's crazy. Now that you tell me that, because for my because guys, I graduated in the summertime with my associates, whoop whoop, and I was gonna take a semester off and then apply to some colleges in the city, and NYU was one of them. Guess I can't even go to NYU without the damn vaccine. And
Yeah.
but not even that. Also, I heard that some jobs you may not even be able to do your own job in the future if you don't have record of the vaccine. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, okay, like I it's just whatever at this point. I'm just like
Mhm.
so upset about it. And that's what I was gonna say too before. Like I even have customers come into the store sometimes without a mask, and sometimes they'll come in with a mask and pull it down when talking to me. And I'm like, listen, you could pull it away from your face. You don't have to take it down. Instantly when they pull it down, I don't care if we have this little register between us. I'm moving away because right
Mhm.
there's your hot ass breath in my face. Back the hell up, Karen. Let me stop. But no, literally, like, not to mention, real quick side note, every customer that comes into the store that's a female, either his name is, I'm so dead ass, Karen, Diane, or Marianne. I promise you, I have so many customers a day. That's Karen, Marianne, and Diane. It's insane. So I literally laugh when I see the name. I'm like, that's a nice name. And you know what? Sometimes I see a rare name in there and I'm like, that's a nice name. And they don't say nothing to me. I'm like, all right, your name is ass. Anyways, put on your mask. So it's just annoying at this point
Yeah.
because it's literally dictating my life.
Yeah, for anybody that's listening, whether you're vaccinated or not, continue to stay safe. COVID is still a thing. People are still dying for it, unfortunately, here in the US, here in New York. So do
Yeah.
what you gotta do, drink your water and all that.
Yeah, for real. And also another thing I was gonna say, um even if you're traveling, don't forget to do proper safety measures because even right now in India and in China, cases of COVID have been going up, and starting on Sunday, China went on to another lockdown. So
Yeah.
that's
And
not a part of our current events, but I saw that on my New York Times the other day.
yeah.
So yeah, next current
Um,
event we
next
have
current
the
event, Justice Department indicts three
yeah.
men on federal hate crimes in the death of Ahmaud Arbery. So to recap, back last year, February 23rd, 20.
I'm sorry. I'm
You saw the year that I put?
sorry.
Yeah, I put 3030 instead of 2020.
Yeah, guys. I was looking at it and I thought she was just gonna read over and be like 2020. Shawty said 2030.
Yeah, 2020, guys. We're not in the future.
2020.
Um, yeah, so unfortunately, this happened back last year. Ahmaud Arbery, a 25-year-old man who was fatally shot in Glenn County, Georgia, while jogging.
Yeah.
There were three men involved in this incident: Travis McMichael, Gregory McMichael, which is Travis's father, and William Bryan. So basically these three men, they saw Ahmaud Arbery jog in a neighborhood, and supposedly in that neighborhood there's been recent break-ins, and of course once they saw the Ahmaud Arbery skin color, which he was black, they assumed that he was one of the people breaking in, of course, when he was just jogging. And they unfortunately killed him, and like they shot him like 3 times.
Yeah.
Since then, all 3 men pleaded not guilty on June 2020 after being indicted on the following charges: felony murder, malice murder, aggravated assault, and false imprisonment. All 3 men are currently in Glenn County Jail waiting to be sentenced. And recently, on April
They've been in
28th,
jail for a minute
yeah,
waiting for that court
yeah,
date. That's how it is in real life too, guys, by the way. Anyways,
yeah.
continue.
hmm People just waiting for their sentence. On April 28th, the United States of Department of Justice indicted all 3 men and charged them with hate crimes because I didn't see the video, but I read in the article that they were calling him racial slurs.
Yeah.
With hate crimes and attempted kidnapping for Ahmaud Arbery. The indictment also charges 2 of the men with separate counts of using firearms during the crime of violence. So, on top of as they're waiting for their sentence, they're now being indicted for more charges.
Yeah. I honestly remember when Arbery died and stuff, like just seeing a whole trend on TikTok, like people like it was This Is America by Childish Gambino playing as the audio,
Yeah,
and it's like everybody like putting their hands up as freeze. And first it was him, and then it was somebody else. I believe it was Vanessa or another guy, and then it was George Floyd, and then that's when it was like that's it.
yeah. Last year, like it's crazy. This is about to make a year since all that happened, and I know that the anniversary of George Floyd is gonna hit. It's gonna hit me because I was going through it that week. Like my body was like so tense and
Yeah, and it's so funny too because George Floyd's death is literally me and Ariana's friendship anniversary. Not the exact date, but like 2 days after. And it's just crazy. It's gonna be a sweet but sentimental moment for
Mhm.
us and stuff because it's literally like our friend group. Nobody wanted to talk about that. Everybody was just avoiding it. And then someone had mentioned it honestly, and they were like, did you hear about the guy that just died? And then Ariana was like, oh my god, yeah. And I was like, yeah. And then we're like, wait. And then we became friends and we made our podcast like 3 weeks later.
We're here today.
I know. Oh, wow. Now I'm thinking about it, it's crazy.
Hmm
Anyways, okay, moving on from that. Next we have New York tests social workers and EMS to respond to non-violent mental health crisis. So a pilot program will be tested this spring in 3 Harlem and East Harlem police precincts. I can't say it right.
You got it.
To rely on social workers and EMS to respond to nonviolent mental health crisis. Oh, that's nice, actually. Mayor De Blasio stated the following on Monday, April 26th. We're now convinced that this approach is going to work citywide, de Blasio said of the program during a budget briefing on Monday. So for mental health crisis calls, we're going to take that civilian approach and use it as all precincts in the city in the course of the upcoming fiscal year. I actually like that a lot though because my mom is actually a social worker and we have been saying police phone calls that the police are getting on a 911 is sometimes a mental thing, and I forget who exactly it is. Sorry for not remembering them because unfortunately there are a lot of victims that have been victims to police shootings and everything, but there was this one victim.
In Rochester.
Yeah, and he was having a mental crisis and everything. His brother called the police, saying that like he pulled the gun out at them, and then he ran out, and he also was found screaming naked in the street and all this stuff, and the police got him and they shot him. And like this happened more than once, so it's good to know that at least now they'll be taking safety measures because obviously sometimes.
Name was Daniel Prude. I just looked it up.
Yeah. There's a lot of you don't need to basically pull out your gun on somebody that you really don't need to unless the gun is being pointed at you first. I feel like you shouldn't resort to another gun. But especially in that instance, like we know there's a taser on a police officer. So I'd rather a taser than a gun in my chest. Um, but yeah, so then there's that. I think that's good.
Mm-hmm. And their last current event, 16-year-old Asian teen killed outside his house in Seattle. Wow.
Yeah,
Last week, Filipino teen Earl Estella was shot and killed at his family's home in Seattle. His family members stated it happened when he was opening the front door of his house after someone had knocked on his door multiple times. When he opened the door, he quickly closed the door again, and when he closed the door, the person shot him through the door.
yeah,
Wow. His family members showed an interview, showed the interview the door where you see multiple shots fired, which resulted in Earl's death. Police have yet to find the shooter, but the case is being investigated and the family is now mourning.
yeah. And they had also said that their shooter also ran away on foot. As far as they know, but right now they just started the investigation, and it's just insane because he was literally 16 and got shot in his own home through the door. Literally, you saw the bullets through the door. It was crazy to even see that.
Killing
But
it. Like,
I was gonna give a shout out to Asian Feed. It's an Instagram account. If you guys want to keep track of the attacks that are also going on with Asians, because just like how we have incidents with Black Lives Matter every single week with Black people and other minorities, there's also Asians that are going through a lot right now, so don't forget to spread around Stop Asian Hate. And yeah, just don't forget to share your support for everybody, because we're all here for one another, and if we don't have each other's backs, who's gonna have our backs, basically.
and also check in on your, if you have Asian American friends, check on them. At my school, my club, we hosted like a event talking about this, and there were people who were Asian American there, and some of them said that they will not be taking the subway for a very long time,
Yeah.
and they don't know what they're going to do when their school goes in person, because that's how they would get there. So it's like, even this one of my classmates, she is does counseling at a school, and one of her students is Asian American, and she wants to go to school in person, but her parents are not letting her because
Yeah.
of what's going on in here in New York City. This girl is only like 9 years old.
Oh my god.
So,
Yeah, what's called another thing that I saw on Asian feed was a man was literally attacked in the street while he was picking cans from trash cans, and this man literally beat him, like literally was stomping on his face on the corner of the street. It was so hard to see, like honestly. And this Asian man, he lost his job last year when COVID hit, and he's been collecting cans to support his family. And because they had also been evicted from their old apartment, I believe, or something. So that should hurt me, honestly, to see that. And every time I see an Asian person in the street now, like especially when I was in the city like a few weeks ago, and even when they come to the store, I'm like, be safe out there, like literally, like, because dead ass, like my whole town is really just white people. Like
mm,
I've like, if I see any Hispanics, like they don't live here in my town. They live in another town. And it's like you never know. And there's racist people everywhere. And I have two neighbors that like are for only Blue Lives Matter, and then literally every other house has a Blue Lives Matter flag over here, and
mm,
it's like literally Confederate flag mask when they come into the store. It's like a hard thing to see. And sometimes when I'm doing like their rewards, I'm seeing where they're from, and they're all over Long Island, so not even just here.
yeah, I be seeing that sometimes. I went to the bagel shop to get a bacon, egg, and cheese, which is overpriced over here. It's not the same as the city.
No, that get it for $3 over there. Get it for $10 in freaking upstate. Like,
Me and my cousin like saw somebody in the store had a Blue Lives Matter mask. It's just so weird. Like, people say it's just a mask, but like it means something, and then it's like, you know the person, like the man, looked at me, and I'm like thinking, oh, what is he thinking when he looks at me, being that he's had that mask, because I know what it represents.
that's what I think too when like I have customer that's wearing conservative flag mask and everything, because I'm still waiting for somebody. I haven't seen anybody with a conservative flag mask in a while since before. last time I seen them was before the thing passed in New York that it's like illegal over here. So I haven't seen anyone that does have it, but like still like they'll have the Blue Lives Matter mask and they'll look at me and I'll be like mad polite because like sometimes I'll go to like sometimes people can obviously look at me and tell I'm not white. Like yeah, my
Yeah.
skin is white and everything, but I am Hispanic. And like sometimes they'll either be really rude or they'll just be very quiet when talking to me, and it's just like I'm here, like look, I try to be as polite as possible too because I'm just like damn, you dead ass stand for something that's literally was made an oppression to something that's just basically fighting for basic human decency and human rights. Like that's literally what it is. And that's literally what the Blue Lives Matter thing was made against for. It's not for freaking police lives matter. Okay, how do the police lives matter when you guys are the ones shooting and killing black people, Hispanics, Pacific Islanders, whoever else, you know? Like being responsible for half the majority of the hate crimes against anybody that is not white. So it's just a sad thing to think about and see, and that's why I really try my best to do the kill people with kindness. And today I've been telling my managers, don't put me on the register, and because I was really about to jump over these registers these last 2 days to get it with customers, like dead ass. I'm not even playing. Because this customer today, yo, quick story, guys, before we go. I'm dealing with this customer, right? There's a line. I have new people behind me on the register. And my boss is talking to me through the walkie, and she's like, Tati, when you're done with this customer, do one more and then go on your break. And I had just dealt with this shawty because she was like, I want my $10. I want my $10 for my thing. Because if you donate a pair of shoes, you get $10 off, whatever. So I gave her freaking thing. I literally had to end her transaction, do the donation so she got the $10, and then added her coupon, whatever. And then it came to the part where she had to pay. So I'm listening. She's like, do I put it in now? And obviously on the thing where you put in your card and everything is like, enter card, swipe card, da 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 da. And I'm about to respond to my boss. And she was like, can I put it in now? And I'm like, yes, you could put it in. I was like, don't you see that it's black? Like, I didn't say all that, but I was just like, yes, you could put it in. Like, go ahead. Not disrespectful. So like, I literally was like, okay, got it. Literally put her receipt in her bag, and I just pushed it away. I didn't even tell her to have a good day because I hope she tripped and fell when walking out the store, like dead ass. And she didn't even say thank you, none of that. She just said, have a nice day. And I was like, bitch, I'll take your $10 right back. Literally, I'll call customer service and be like, yeah, she didn't even what's it called? She donated a really bad pair of like shoes. Take that $10 away. Da da da. Yeah. So customers really want them. It's that this week, yo. I go back to work tomorrow on Mother's Day because I said I was available on Mother's Day. I did as work opening to closing. These mothers better not test me.
Damn.
Telling them now. I will rip them gift cards in half. I don't give a damn if you have that 10 plus bonus, that $20 bonus. I'll pretend like it's not working in the system. Sorry, there's nothing I can do. That's it.
Sheesh.
No, I can't even do that. They'll be like, I need a manager, and my manager will put it in. So let me stop. But all right, guys, that's it. Thank you for listening to us talk. I hope you guys enjoy this month's series, and we'll catch you guys next Friday with a new episode. Sheesh.
Bye.